The Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Matthew. At that time, the disciples came and said to Jesus, "Why do you speak to them in parables?" And he answered them, "To you it has been given to know the secrets of the kingdom of heaven, but to them it has not been given. For to him who has, more will be given, and he will have abundance. But from him who has not, even what he has will be taken away. This is why I speak to them in parables, because seeing they do not see, and hearing they do not hear, nor do they understand. With them indeed is fulfilled the prophecy of Isaiah, which says, 'You shall indeed hear but never understand. You shall indeed see but never perceive. For this people's heart has grown dull, and their ears are heavy of hearing, and their eyes have closed, lest they should perceive with their eyes, and hear with their ears, and understand with their heart, and turn for me to heal them. But blessed are your eyes, for they see, and your ears, for they hear. Truly I say to you, many prophets and righteous men longed to see what you see and did not see it, and to hear what you hear and did not hear it." The Gospel of the Lord. Brothers and sisters, the first part of this Gospel is, I find, somewhat confusing. For to him who has, more will be given, and he will have an abundance. But from him who has not, even what he has will be taken away. It seems somewhat unfair according to our notions of right and wrong, of fair and unfair. But the first part of this gospel is explained by Jesus in the prophecy of Isaiah. And simply put, it goes like this. Have you ever had a conversation with someone about something, and they simply refused to understand? It's what we call willful ignorance. When somebody simply makes up their mind, decides for themselves not to understand, not to try and understand, not to keep an open mind, they simply refuse to get it, to try, to make an effort. They have eyes, but they do not see. They have ears, but they do not hear. And so we mustn't become confused by a genuine lack of understanding that any of us may have about one or more aspects of the faith or the spiritual life. A genuine lack of understanding and willful ignorance, a willful lack of understanding. And that's what Jesus really laments in this gospel today. Those people who close their eyes and close their ears and say, you know what, I'm not interested. I'm not interested. I'm not interested in the faith. I'm not interested in what you have to say. I'm not interested in this person of Jesus Christ. I'm not really interested in the gospel. Say what you want to say. The remarkable thing is that just as we in our ordinary lives don't have time for people like that, I'm sure that many of us who are listening get irritated by people like that. And just as we don't have time for people like that, it would seem that God also does not have time for people like that. Because God's answer is quite clear. Okay, that's fine. That's the way you want to do it. And so, we who make an effort, we're not called to judge or condemn. We're not called to point fingers, ridicule or laugh, but we who make an effort are called to rejoice in the very fact that we have faith, that we have this beautiful Christian tradition with which we engage. The scriptures, our prayer life, our faith in action, coming to Mass, partaking of church activities, being one in a spiritual community. All those things which bring us an innate sense of great joy and peace, we must be grateful for and thankful for. Thankful that, unlike so many others, we have not simply dismissed it outright and so lost for ourselves the great treasure in the field, the great pearl, the faith itself, and all that it offers us, all that it gives to us. And so, my dear brothers and sisters, the only thing I invite each and every one of us to do today is to give thanks, praise, and glory to God for the gift of the faith, for the gift of our spiritual life, for the gift of His presence in our life, in our lives. To give praise, thanks, and glory to God for Him being there for us, for Him being there with us, for Him being there in us. To give praise, thanks, and glory to God for our dedication to Him, for our drive to love Him and serve Him and worship Him. To give praise, thanks, and glory to God for the faith that is ours, the great treasure in the field, the great pearl that each and every one of us own and cherish. And finally, at the end of the day, when we have done this, in whatever way, in whatever manner we feel most right, to pray for those who have not. Not to pray in any condescending manner, but to pray genuinely and earnestly for those who have closed their eyes and shut their ears, for those who willfully remain ignorant, who refuse to understand and turn away from God and the faith, to pray for them, that they may discover in their own lives, eventually in some way, what we have, the great treasure in the field, the great pearl of the presence of God in our lives, of the meaning of the faith for us. Amen.